Dakota Johnson knew that Madam Web was a disaster before the cameras even stopped rolling. Now, Dakota Johnson mocked the movie on Madam Web in interviews, distanced herself from the mess, as you all know, and now she's blaming the usual suspects in Hollywood. Now, according to Dakota Johnson, the real problem isn't her, performance. It's just how Hollywood is run by people with no creative instincts. And once again, Dakota Johnson puts herself right at the center of the conversation about how broken Hollywood has become. All right. So this is a shocking turn of events, honestly. Now, Dakota Johnson has now made it a full-time hobby to distance herself from Madam Web like it was radioactive waste. And she also came forward in an interview talking about how Pedro Pascal dresses in women's clothing. Okay, so yeah, now she's back in the headlines doing damage control right now for a movie that no one even wants to remember. And now, with a new project out, she's certainly the authority on what's wrong with Hollywood. Okay, so she claims she was just along for the ride, but it wasn't just a ride. It was actually a PR disaster, a flop, and a punchline all wrapped into one big embarrassing mess that actually cost millions. I mean, that's the ride that Dakota Johnson willingly jumped on with her eyes closed. Okay, but let's be honest here. Dakota Johnson saw the crash coming. You see, before the premiere, before the press junkets, before the critics even sharpened their knives, she was already mocking the project itself. Saturday Night Live, they had the mockery. Her press interviews, shrugs, and excuses. That wasn't a confident start hyping film right there. It was just someone watching the train derail in a slow motion and backing away without getting blamed, okay? And now, a year and a half later, today, she's out here pretending she didn't have a seat in first class on that particular Disaster Express, okay? And now she's quoting how studios' decisions kill the movie. With the ESG and DEI, how Hollywood is run by people with zero creativity, and how executives destroyed what was originally a decent idea. And you know what? She's got a point. These studio suits are the same ones who approved $200 million scripts that could have been written by a drunk AI. But here's the problem. Dakota Johnson still wants to hand power back to the real creatives in Hollywood. Like they haven't done just as much damage, if not more. Okay. Now, honestly put, Dakota Johnson may be calling out studio executives, but she's also defending the exact types of creators who injected their politics into every script and turned once fun franchises into lectures. I mean, you can't pretend like everything bad came from the boardroom. Now, plenty of these disasters came from the writer's room. Okay, remember when hiring became about, checking identity politics or identity boxes instead of talent? I mean, that wasn't a Suits idea. That was the creative crowd she wants running the show without oversight. Okay, so when Dakota Johnson says Hollywood decisions are made by people without a creative bone in their body. I mean, sure, that's fair. That's a true point. But we also had 10 years of creatives pushing activism into every genre, diluting franchising, chasing awards instead of audiences. I mean, they're just as guilty, to be honest with you. They ignored fans, they lectured viewers, they fired talent for political reasons, and now they want trust again because a few suits micromanaged too hard. I mean, let's be real. That right there is a cop out. And let's not forget the sheer comedy of Dakota Johnson getting hyped about joining the Marvel Universe, okay? And tagging Disney executives who had nothing to do with her movie. Okay, she thought she was stepping into the MCU. Instead, she walked into Sony's Spider-Man free zone of misery, otherwise known as the Sony Marvel Universe. Okay, so you can practically smell the regret in every awkward interview that she gave after that. Okay, so basically she went full Instagram announcement mode, like she just booked a role in Avengers Endgame 2 or something, or even Avengers Doomsday. Instead, she starred in a movie with zero Spider-Man, zero direction, and zero audience interest. Okay. Now, Madam Web, as you all know, made $43 million domestically, and that's not just a flop, that's a black hole of ticket sales. It scored 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, and now Dakota Johnson wants to pretend she was some poor, clueless passenger. I mean, you signed your contract, you cashed the check, uh, but it can't get any worse than that. But to her credit, I mean, Dakota Johnson is not blaming the fans. That's rare in modern Hollywood, though. Now, most actors can't wait to attack the audience when the movie tanks, but not her. You see, she blamed the executives, and that's the first time in a while I've heard an actor or actress avoid calling the viewers bigots for skipping the movie. And she said audiences are extremely smart. And yeah, they are. They saw that trailer and ran in the other direction, okay? Now, Dakota Johnson admitted that, executives treat fans like they're stupid. Okay. That's probably the most honest quote that we've heard from, well, anyone in Hollywood all year. But again, it's only half the truth because these same, visionary creators that she's talking about, she defends, having been peddling garbage for years, ignoring fan feedback, rewriting stories to make them unrecognizable, and then acting shocked when nobody buys a ticket. I mean, these are the same people who turn beloved franchises into activist platforms, okay? I mean, it's nothing new, and they drove fans away. Now, the thing about Dakota Johnson is that she's selective in her criticism. Now, she's sharp enough to call out studio meddling. She's bold enough to say you can't make art based on numbers and algorithms, but then she turns around and does a movie built off a spreadsheet. The problem isn't just the suits, it's the entire culture of Hollywood itself. Everyone is playing it safe for pushing an agenda, okay? But nobody's focused on making something timeless anymore, all right? And then Dakota Johnson also brought up the remakes. Okay. Now, Dakota Johnson actually says remake culture is actually killing Hollywood. I mean, that's hilarious coming from someone whose entire fame was boosted by a remake, adaptation, hybrid like 50 Shades of Grey. Now, suddenly she's saying people don't want recycled stories. I mean, well, I can't even call that movie a remake, but where's that energy when she signed for Marvel adjacent franchise? Okay, if she really believes that, maybe skip the next soulless reboot that she's offered. But fine, I mean, she's not wrong either way. Hollywood is addicted to nostalgia because they've lost touch with the audience. You see, they think branding is more important than storytelling, and they keep making the same mistakes: over budgeted, underwritten, politically loaded nonsense that no one wants to watch. Okay, now Dakota Johnson just happens to be in the middle of it while pretending to be above it. Okay, and you can actually feel the contradiction in everything that she says. One minute Dakota Johnson wants creative freedom, the next she's defending artists who pushed politics so hard they drove audiences out the theater. I mean, you can't have it both ways and stuff, but either you want real creativity that respects the fans and the lore, or you want another round of important movies that bomb harder than Madam Web. But then again, it makes me wonder, is she even aware of what the creators are doing and stuff? Is she aware that no, or is she actually telling us that the executives are making the creators and stuff do put these kind of things out there? But we're not here because fans stop caring and stuff. We're simply here because Hollywood in its entirety stopped listening. You see, the same industry that now wants sympathy from actors like Dakota Johnson is the one that mocked its own customers for years. Now, they've burned through every ounce of goodwill that they had, and now it's costing them billions, and they want to blame the suits. Sure, but don't forget the writers, the directors, and the actors who cheered this mess on when it fit their narrative. Okay, got to take accountability for that as well. But if anything, the reason people are risk averse now is because of what happened the last time they trusted the so-called creators. You see, they got burned. Audiences got burned, investors got burned, and now it's just remake after remake after remake because no one wants to take a chance on another ideological bomb. I mean, not only is that fear, but that's also self-preservation. And Dakota Johnson is basically still doesn't get it, okay? But hey, I mean, at the end of the day, she's still in Hollywood. She still benefits from the machine she claims is broken. She still stars in movies that are packaged, promoted, and even sometimes polluted by the exact people she criticizes. But now she wants to be seen as the truth teller, the one who knew Madam Web was trash from the beginning. Now, if you knew it was trash, then why in the world did you sign on? Okay, I mean, you don't get to call out Hollywood dysfunction after you've already went on ahead and cashed the check and moved on to your next totally different role with Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans. Now, if you really want to change the industry, walk away from the garbage roles. Call out the writers ruining your scripts. Say no to activist nonsense in the middle of a screenplay, basically. That's how you fix it. Not with quotes in the Los Angeles Times and everything, okay? So yeah, Dakota Johnson can keep talking. I mean, she can keep pointing fingers and everything. She's almost there on the right side, but she can even say some honest things about how broken Hollywood is. But unless she starts naming names, unless she just simply admits that the creators she defends are also part of the collapse, she's just simply another face in the industry pretending to be above the mess. You see, Hollywood doesn't need another lecture. It simply needs accountability, and that includes her. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash that like button, share this video far wide across social media. If you enjoy sharing the videos, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell for future uploads and notifications. And I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.